Good show, good show, good show. Best Bachelor recap ever on the internet. Let's go, let's go. Hello, welcome to You Know Something with Dena and Tia, and this is our BachChat. And I'm Dena.
And I'm Tia. And today is October 16th, 2024.
And today, Tia, we're going to be recapping the Golden Bachelorette week 4 or episode 4, however you want to say. And I think, Tia, I've said last week, there's a lot of BachChat recaps Bachelor recaps out there. We call ours BachChat. But we are qualified. We have loved, we have lost, we have loved again. We are of a certain age. We have lived. We have experiences. We have advice. We have do's and don'ts. Tia is very happily married. I'm very happily divorced. So, don't you feel like we do? Don't you think you have a different perspective than a lot of the other recap shows out there?
I don't know. I've never listened to a recap show.
Yeah. Well, most of them are young, relatively young people that are still looking for love. Some are newly married. Like 30 and below, 35 and below, something like that. I think you have a different perspective when you're watching seniors date than we would have. And unfortunately, before we start, we have another legal issue with one of our mansion men, Guy Gansert, and neither one of us chose Guy. Tia and I have a little competition going. We choose our men that we think might win on the very first episode based on just a first impression. And neither one of us have Guy on our list.
I did.
You have Guy on your list? Well, I must have Gil instead of Guy.
No, I did not have Gil.
Okay, Guy. So, Tia, I actually feel like Guy is a front runner. And I like Guy. I find him attractive. Yeah, read yours, Tia, and I'll read mine. Your top pick.
The people that I picked,
Mm-hmm.
Jonathan, Guy, Chalk, Jordan, Keith, and Pascal.
And what do all those guys have in common, Tia?
I don't have a clue.
They're all still there.
Oh, okay.
So you did good. Now, in my case, and then my pick, Jonathan, Jordan, Keith, just like Tia. But then we strayed away, and I had Gary, Mark, and Captain Kim. I lost Captain Kim last week. So if this is a competition, Tia, you're winning. I think your advantage is you have Chalk on your list. I think he's the front runner, don't you?
I don't know.
You're withholding judgment yet? Okay. But we do have some controversy with Guy, who I think it's like a number 3 in my book, until this happened, of course. But let's just read the facts, and we'll give our opinions, and we'll give everybody the benefit of the doubt. But this is from dailymail.co.uk. Now, had you heard about this, Tia, during the week? Oh, you haven't? Golden Bachelorette contestant Guy was accused of domestic violence in October of 2021 by an ex-girlfriend, so 3 years ago, and a restraining order request against him. He's 66. His ex-girlfriend said that on October 12, 2021, there was in a protection order against domestic violence reviewed by the U.S. Sun that he had physically tried to threaten her in the wake of their split. So he physically tried to threaten her. His ex-girlfriend told the court that the incident occurred as she was leaving a gym with a female friend and was boarding her vehicle. I guess in England, getting in your car is called boarding your vehicle. She said that Guy had placed something under her rear driver's tire and then picked it up quickly before he verbally laid into her. The ex-girlfriend said in legal documents that after disparaging me for some time, and now my ex-boyfriend also, he pointed his finger like a gun and then, quote, shot at me. So I guess like... He motioned like he was going to shoot me with his hand shaped like a pistol. His ex-girlfriend said that her friend's head was down, so she didn't witness it. him doing that coming out of the gym. This threatening physical gesture marked the first time he'd ever threatened her. She sought a restraining order for up to 45 days, and she described him as extremely unstable and that he's often sleep deprived. So if you think about it, he works in the emergency room, so maybe he's got these weird hours. I don't know. She also pointed at issues involving medication, saying that in legal documents he took Ambien at 4 a.m. and he also took about 10 pills, adding that she didn't know if the pills were Ambien, which is for insomnia. She said she has stacks of text messages from their 3 months span leading to the October 2021 exchange. She told the court that the tone of the text flipped from "let's try to reconcile" to anger, and then she had physical evidence of his unwanted advances. She said, if needed, I can provide text messages and show a video of the party trespassing on my property when he was aware that I was not home. Eventually, she agreed to a no-contact agreement and had a hearing of protective order. Both Guy and his ex-girlfriend this past September 30th sought to seal this protective order, or seal the records, in a joint emergency motion. Guy said in legal documents that he participated in a nationally syndicated television show in July and August of 2024, which would have been The Golden Bachelorette. He said that his participation in the show until recently was unforeseen and it should be subject to a non-disclosure agreement. He said in legal documents that he had concerns that the aforementioned legal exchanges could create unnecessary exposure, harassment, embarrassment, and potentially personal harm to him and his loved ones. So, obviously, I don't know if they didn't get that protective order and it somehow got out, or somebody spilled the beans. So this is Guy's response to you. I'm going to read it to you. Then I'm really dying to hear what your take is on all this, because I didn't know you didn't know this happened. So here's what Guy said on his Instagram account. Guy G. Gansert, if you want to follow him. He said, I would like to respond to articles about a personal matter from 2021. This was an unfortunate situation that occurred during an incredibly stressful time for me and my former spouse, and was ultimately resolved when she voluntarily dismissed her request for a protective order. Together we crafted a resolution that was agreeable to both parties. My ex-wife and I recently asked the court, okay, hold on, that's not a girlfriend. This is his ex-wife. My ex-wife and I recently asked the court to seal her application for the protective order as we had hoped to maintain privacy for our family. But I know that with being in the public eye comes responsibility. My ex-wife and I were married for 34 years, and in that time we had 4 children who we raised together and deeply love. They are my greatest accomplishment. My divorce was extremely difficult for me and led me to a very low point in my life, and as a result, I acted in a way that does not represent who I am. The past few years have caused me to conduct a deep personal evaluation, and I will always continue to work to improve myself. I am so appreciative of the Golden Bachelorette and Bachelor Nation, as well as my family who have been exceptionally supportive during the most difficult times of my life. I'm eternally grateful for them. How do you feel about a finger gun pointed your way?
Well, I mean, I just think in the heat of the moment, you just do stupid things. And I don't even know why this is even being brought up.
Really?
That was 2021. I mean, he made a mistake. Obviously, he feels horrible about it. And, I mean, he did things he should have never done. But just let it go. I mean, there's 3 years.
Well, that's very forgiving of you. So if you were single and you were dating him and this came out, you would, I mean, obviously you'd have the advantage of being able to personally ask him about it. You all would have a private conversation, but if this is all the information you had to go on, you would be forgiving and understanding of that.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to see what he's like. I mean, people change and people can learn from their mistakes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I wonder what he was putting under the tire. Something to make her tire flat, maybe?
No,
A tracking device?
no, I just think it was probably something to. Obviously, you wanted to talk to her, so it's probably just like one of those things you make where the car can't roll.
Oh, interesting take. I
Who
would want to
knows?
know what his ex-wife had to say, because she was agreeable to, let's keep this quiet, not to cause further
Right.
stress. So that's a long time to be married. I was trying to remember what he told Joan his marriage situation was. I can't remember that reflected that, but I was thinking he said, and maybe we haven't covered it yet. I don't know if it's in this episode or last episode, that he said we went to counseling and his wife just said, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I thought there's a reason why she said, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
He obviously said something that made her say that. So I don't know. Here we are speculating about people's personal lives, but it's our job right now to do that. So Tia is forgiving. So that's good. I guess. Good. Now, if he has drug dependency on sleeping and waking up and all that, in the medical field, we know people in the medical field, and that's so hard to sleep and wake up, especially if it's a night shift. So I can see where you could reach a breaking point and do something stupid. I personally have never pointed a finger gun at anyone that I can recall, but that's just me. So now that we've got,
I have.
have you?
Yeah, playing Cowboys and Indians.
Okay. I think that's different. All right. So now that we've got the icky out of the way, let's get to the fun part. Now, we did have the little preview like we always do to kind of tease into what's going to be happening in the show. Mm-hmm. And what did we see this week at the beginning? Do you remember?
Mm-hmm. Chalk and Joan crying.
What'd you think when you saw that?
No, I didn't know. I was just thinking, well, there's going to be something.
Did you go, did you feel disappointment? I mean, he is one of your...
No, because I just thought there was too much. And it got on my nerves, so I couldn't wait for it to be over. So,
wow.
So now let's get to the good part.
Okay. And Chalk did say, the little preview they have on the before they start their dates. Chalk did say he feels closer to Joan since she said she can only give 90% of her heart. So that really had a positive effect on people, I think. He'd gladly take another one-on-one with her. Keith feels like, he got that first impression rose, but he's never had time alone with her since then. So he'd love to get a one-on-one so she can see his serious side. And Guy, that we just spoke about, said he would love a one-on-one as he has grown attached to Joan. It's not like he's like, I think I'm falling in love with her. He was just like, I've got a little attachment to her. So the group date card arrives. And do you remember what it said, Tia?
Let's spare it all for love.
Now, what did you think when you heard that?
I knew exactly what it was going to be.
Right. So Jonathan, Charles, Dan, Pascal, Gary, Mark, Gil, Chalk, and Keith are going to bear it all for love. And if you haven't watched, if you just kind of follow along with us, it was a male dance review, a Chippendales type dance review. And so that means that Jordan and Guy, are going to have the one-on-one, so they know that. So they take a bus to go see what they're going to do. So they go to a venue. I couldn't really tell what it was, if it was a nightclub or a dance club or what. And Caitlin Bristow walks in. Did you have any idea who Caitlin Bristow was?
No.
That came in? Okay.
None.
She's kind of interesting, Tia. She is in the Bachelor Nation, as they say. She was a contestant for a Bachelor. So she was one of many women. That was season... I think it was like season 19 of The Bachelor. Anyway, it was a farmer, a guy, good-looking farmer guy who came from a Bachelorette season. And she was like, I think third place. He didn't choose her, but she was like third place. But then they chose her to be the Bachelorette the next season. She was very fun and free spirit, irreverent, not like your glamour girl. She's more of a little, she's beautiful, but she was more of a sporty girl, a fun girl. And so when they asked her if she wanted to do it, she said yes. Well, they surprised her, Tia. And they took another girl from that season of The Bachelor, Britt Nielsen, and pitted them against each other. They were both the Bachelorette. First time they had ever done that. And they had the first episode, and they had the men vote right on a ballot. Which one of these women do you want to be The Bachelorette. Does that suck?
Oh, it's pretty rude.
It was awful. It pitted them both against each other. Britt, picture the most gorgeous girl in the world, and then sprinkle pretty glitter on top of her head. And that's what, not pretty litter, pretty glitter on top of her head. And that's who she was. And so the guys voted. It was close, but Caitlin won. Well, how do you think she felt when half the guys, almost a little less than half the guys wanted Britt, not her? And there she was in the house with them. So it was awkward. It was awful. So Nick shows up and says, I want to be on the show. And so they end up spending some alone time together before she says, yeah, you can join the show. So all the men are mad at her because she's been intimate in the house with this guy who's just shown up. So she ends up finding love and being engaged for a while, but she has paid her dues, is my point, in Bachelor Nation. So she is significant to this. And people who don't watch may not know her history, or maybe those who just follow the Golden Bachelor. So she has a right to be there. It's not like she's just randomly there. So Caitlin introduces 3 Chippendale dancers, and they're the young ones, the current ones. The Mancher men are like, oh no, we don't look like them. I feel like they were all feeling pretty insecure, except for Pascal and Jonathan, maybe. Sweet little Gary's like, oh, I'm not body ready for this, and Keith is not ready for it. So they're all having doubts. And then Joan explains that it's a stand up for cancer event, for cancer awareness, and because her husband had pancreatic cancer. And it's to like bear it all to your doctor, get exams.
Right.
And Mark reflected on how he lost his wife to cancer, so he was on board. Pascal's into it because he's got some abs, and said he actually strips at home because he's so good looking. But then they bring out the older Chippendale dancers to give them tips, show them some moves. What was your thought about that whole date concept before we get into what they dressed as? Did you think that was a good thing?
I just think it's for TV. And I did think it was funny when Pascal said, well, he strips at home, so this should be nothing.
He does look good. It's pretty amazing. I feel like it's degrading. I'm going to be a negative Nelly and a prudish Prudence. What if this was the women that had to do this? It's a double standard, right?
No. I don't know. Because, I mean, who knows? They may have women do it.
I don't recall.
Because, it's the same double standard as us, if women have too much cleavage showing versus Jonathan having a shirt unbuttoned too. That's a double standard.
That's true, because we made fun of him for doing that. You didn't particularly mind it. Well, you did a little bit, but if a woman does it, it's acceptable and sexy. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that it would have been pointed out if a woman showed too much cleavage, but then it's fine if a guy unbuttons his shirt to his navel.
Yeah.
So that's a double standard too.
That's true. That's true. And I kind of liked how Chalk was acting, because he was like, I think he was about to say, I'm not doing this. This is humiliating. That's not what I'm here for. But then when he found out it was for cancer, he did it. Keith was really on board for it. Little Charles, again, was like, what are we doing?
I just put Charles is killing me.
He didn't quite understand what's happening.
Right.
But they need to pick out their, and Gary's kind of like, oh, this will be fun. I'm not going to look good. But so they're going to pick out their outfits. Did you make any notes on what you thought about any of their outfits?
Yes, I put Gary the Nutty Professor. I said, so suits him.
It did.
He's a doll. And then after that, I just wrote down what I thought after they performed.
Okay. So Pascal was a fireman. No, Keith was a fireman, wasn't he?
Mark was the fireman.
Okay. Mark, I don't know what Pascal was. Gary the Nutty Professor.
He was
the money gun.
The money gun, right.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Just a stripper with a money gun. Jonathan was an army sergeant. He said he was Sergeant Sexy. And Tia, on his LinkedIn, his um, career is model and actor, which I thought was kind of interesting.
I'll put he's a bit into himself.
Yes, and he's now a model and an actor. Charles went as a tourist. I put question mark. He's wearing a Hawaiian shirt in LA.
Yeah, I love him.
Keith had on, he's like a construction worker, had on a hard hat. Mark, I've got Mark as a fireman. I've got everybody's a fireman. I don't know why I thought that. Mm. And Dan was, I think, a pirate. He had on like a floofy shirt. But I thought Chalk looked fine.
He dressed up though.
Yeah, he was wearing like a tux, but a cowboy hat, right? So he was like I'm not sure what that was, but I thought that was a classy choice. So what were your notes about their actual moves? Did you have any notes about that?
I put Jonathan is a bit into himself. Charles is a doll. Keith isn't throwing his money. He's keeping it for himself. And
I didn't notice that.
Yeah. And bear your true self. Jonathan, entirely too much. Yeah. Pascal was better. Mark was good. Keith, oh my word. When he did the thrusting and that just Gary, absolutely precious, ripping his shirt. Wow. Dan, not so much. Charles, he's just a stinking doll. That's what ladies like the tush, question mark. I said he did look good, but I probably would not put my bottom in someone else's face. Okay, he needs to stop.
Yeah, I thought Joan was a little uncomfortable with the bumping and grinding in her face, but and Gil, which we don't really like to talk about. I was just looking at a photo I snapped. He was a doctor, or a doctor's coat, but yeah. So Mark was the fireman for sure. Everybody couldn't be a fireman.
I put Gil. I don't remember.
That's fine. He's basically, a non-issue. Okay. Yeah, I think Dan was the pirate looking at this. And we ought to mention Jonathan's little gold Speedos that he had on.
Let's not say we did.
Wow, we are turning on John, aren't we? Mm-hmm. All right, so I overall just felt kind of icky about the ones that were taking it so seriously and being so overt. The fun ones like Gary and Charles were cute, but I think it would have felt better if we're having a dance contest. You choreograph your dance, and maybe one of them would have been a stripper, but not. I don't know.
We all know Jonathan would have been a stripper, and Keith would have probably too, because he said that'd been his fantasy.
Wow, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
They all had a great attitude. They all participated. I'm just not sure how Joan felt about all that. I think she was embarrassed. Did Joan promise her family she wouldn't kiss anybody, her kids? Was she the one that said that?
Yeah, she did at first, but I mean that's history. Now,
she didn't say anything.
History the very first night. So, oops.
She didn't promise she wouldn't let somebody bump and grind on her though. Joan felt good about the cause. Now, do you think stripping is a good way to make people aware of cancer? Do you think that was an effective way to make people aware of getting breast exams or whatever?
No, I think there's more effective ways for sure.
Yeah.
But again, I just think it was for ratings and things like that. So, I mean, if it raised money for cancer research, I was all for it.
Yeah. I don't know how they could actually raise money unless they were charging the people in the audience.
They were.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so there was an audience there.
It was a fundraiser.
Okay. All right. I'll accept it then. So she told them all she was really impressed with their enthusiasm, their willingness to participate. And so then they had kind of their little one-on-one after date conversations, I guess you'd say it. Trying to get that date rose. You remember anything about the conversation with Chalk?
Mm-hmm. He said, let's talk about us. And you go first. And I said, no. You don't tell her to go first after you've asked her to talk about us. You go first. That's what I thought. Yeah. And could it, could be a future with us. And then she said that I felt safe again.
Very important to her.
And I'm crazy about you from Chalk, is what he said.
I just feel like their chemistry is. He had his hand on her thigh, and they just naturally touch each other and kiss each other. I just feel like he's the front runner. They just have the chemistry. Keith.
I said, please stop.
He was just totally flubbing, wasn't he?
Well, no, I mean, he's tried to do his dance again.
Oh, that's right. She was not turned on that.
No.
Yeah, she was like, this is our time together. You want me to take you seriously, but what are you doing?
Yeah, what? I mean, here, let me just do this again. No, sit down. Stop.
Yeah, and he says, when I was 20, I really wanted to be a Chippendale dancer. I mean, that's not what you want to hear from your husband, I don't think. I've always wanted to be a stripper, necessarily. Not for, I mean, maybe private dancer. That would be good, but he did not. I think there's a lot to him, and he's a human being, three-dimensional human being, but he's just nervous around her. So I don't know. He just really misses his chances. He blows it. Jonathan.
I said, don't bring your undies. Really? Question mark? Question. I'm sorry. If my husband, the only time that I touch his boxers is when I wash them. Don't bring them to me.
Did he have time to wash them between the time he danced?
No. Ugh. Yuck.
Now, that would probably be a man's great fantasy if she brought her underwear that she just danced into him, but it's not in reverse generally with women. They don't want your dirty underwear.
No.
Jonathan. Gary.
I said, just keeps melting my heart.
Mm-hmm. I picked him. You did. So it was his son's birthday, so they did like a video call to him, and he just said, I was just a Chippendale dancer.
His son laughed hard.
Just picturing that. Joan caresses his face, I put, but kind of in a mother-son kind of way. He is precious. Mark.
Always room for more love. Then I put, I don't see a connection.
Oh, you don't?
Mm-mm.
Yeah. Do you think maybe she's attracted to him, but she thinks he's not attracted to her, therefore she's kind of holding him back?
No.
You just don't see it with them.
Mm-mm. I just think there's either chemistry or there's not.
Yeah. By this time, it's been a month. I mean, in our time, I don't know about their time if it's been a month. You're either feel a spark or you don't. At least me, I would know by then. And I might feel a spark and then it starts to go away, like with Jonathan and Keith by that time. But they've never really had it, have they? They had a good kiss one week, seems like, Mark. And she said you should have done that sooner, I was thinking. All right, let's see. What did I say about Mark? I just put, he asked her if she feels any guilt about moving on. She said yes, and he says he does too. But I feel like you need to stop talking about that at some point and move on. So she sits down with all the men after she's talked to him and said, I know y'all were terrified, except for you, Jonathan. And then who does she end up giving the rose to?
Chalk.
Yes. Did you agree with that?
Definitely. He still shouldn't have thrusted it. I'm sorry.
She obviously liked it, but
it just doesn't do it.
Maybe had a little vodka first or something.
Well, I don't know, because they were asking for glasses of Chardonnay before they started, remember? Yeah,
that's right. Liquid courage.
Yeah.
So, the next morning, we see Chalk. If I'm telling this wrong, tell me. This is what my notes say. He woke up. He got a phone call. And what did they say on the phone, Tia?
That his mother had passed.
Yeah.
And I said, I can't even imagine. I'm so mad. And then I'm going a little ahead, but I said, ironically, same bench.
Oh, yeah. I think I recall he said that she told him to go ahead. He was afraid this was going to happen if he left and filmed this show, but she said, you need to go live your life. I don't want to make him feel bad about his decision, but I just really feel like the two most important things you can do in life is bring a life into the world, which I did not do, and raise a decent human, and then how you escort the people you love out of this life. Generally your parents. And I don't think I did a good job with that either. I tried, but I didn't either. And people are not there when it happens. It's just, from personal experience, that's devastating.
I know, but you can't live your life and sit and just wait on something to happen.
Yeah.
And yes, you did do a very good job with your father. So.
Thank you. But he had to leave, obviously. He had to make funeral plans. I don't know what his sibling situation is like, but
that's not his biological father, it's his stepfather.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
So he's kind of like the man of the family, I guess, and wanted to fulfill his mother's wishes and do that. And so he tells Joan, and of course she's very disappointed, but very understanding. I think she was feeling that flashback of when she left and didn't come back. Her situation was different in that her daughter was just starting out in this situation. This was there's only so much you can do when someone passes.
No, her daughter had postpartum depression.
Yeah, but she didn't know how
long. So she was really going through it, and you don't get over that in a week.
Right, exactly. So there was a possibility that Chalk might come back, because all he needs to do is go comfort his family, get the arrangements made, and, what's that take, a week, something like that. So that's on her mind, of course, and we're like, ah. And even one of our listeners sent us a message and said that they were crying over. I assume that's what they were crying over, that Chuck.
Well, I think there was a lot of things you could have cried about in this show.
All right, we'll get on with it then. So, one-on-one date. Let's have some fun with Jordan, who is both of our picks. I'm really liking Jordan more every week. How are you feeling about Jordan?
I said, I understand about the ice skating, but he certainly didn't lead Laugh Out Loud. I can't help but think that she's thinking or wishing that Jordan was Chalk.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I do love how he loves his family.
Yep.
And then I put REO's Speedwagon.
All right, well, we'll get into that.
Okay.
So Jordan's getting ready for the date. He's a little nervous. I think he's taking this seriously. He's more rational than the others. He's like, I'm not in love yet. I'm just trying to get to know her, so this is another step. I didn't write down what the date card said. Obviously, it said something about that made him guess it was going to be ice skating. He was like, as long as it's not ice skating.
Something about the cold.
Yeah. He said, I'm good as long as it's not ice skating. Well, like you said, it was ice skating. So, can you ice skate?
Mm-hmm.
I knew it. I freaking knew it. There's nothing you can't do physically.
Oh, yes, there's plenty I can't do.
So he's trying to I felt like this whole date kind of emasculated him because he couldn't figure out how to put the skates on. Obviously, Joan knew how to do it. I figured they discussed, Joan, what do you want some of your dates to be? And one of them was probably ice skating because she's good at it. He said, I'm not often frightened, but I'm frightened right now. And then he took a hard fall. That sounded like a crunch.
I know, but she laughed hard. And then she couldn't quit laughing. But I was thinking, I would have laughed too.
Would you?
Because I would have not worn those helmets. There's no way.
Yeah, they didn't want to get sued, did they? I looked on his Instagram, and he said he got a big bruise on his hip. So, from the fall. We bruise easily when we get older.
Yes, we do.
So I felt bad for him. You could tell he was really embarrassed. But, how's he supposed to feel strong and leaning and romantic when he's laying on the ice with his feet up over his head? It's tough. It's just not something he's good at. They have a conversation about the end of his marriage, and he's insinuating his wife cheated. Is that the gist you get? Like, there was trust lost.
Yes.
I think he's trying to respect his children's mother, but it's kind of a weird situation. And then he took the kids in. 3 kids lived with him in a 2-bedroom apartment. So, I think she's taken all that in, trying to figure out what is his living situation? What actually went on there? And I don't know. I guess he still lives in an apartment in Chicago, but there are nice apartments in Chicago. Jordan, and then we hear, I can't fight this feeling anymore. REO Speedwagon, which I was kind of impressed that REO Speedwagon was there.
I was just thinking, if they're going to continue to get bands that were from their era, they're going to run out quick.
They need to hurry, don't
they? They need to hurry.
Not that they're dead, but their voices are not what they used to be. Taylor Dane was great. I thought they sounded great.
Yes, they did.
Yeah, they don't look like I remember them, but they sounded great. That's going to always be a good song.
But Jordan knew every single word, every single song.
That's right. So they danced to that. They took their skates off, though.
Yes.
Okay. That would have been terrible. And I put to Tia. I think chalk is on Joan's mind.
And I put about Jordan. Mm-hmm. When he's kissing her, I said, he looks like he's taking bites out of her.
Well, I saw the tongue come out, for sure.
I know, but it's like, and it was an awkward kiss. But I said, he's fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Joan, every time she's kissing, she's saying, my kids are watching. She's going to have to shake that off. She's never watched The Bachelor, apparently. Remember how Gary kissed everyone? I just put this date seemed fine, but I don't think they progressed, really. I don't know. But she did give him the rose. Mm-hmm. Right? Okay. I didn't write that down, but... All right, so next we have a date with Guy. And how are you feeling about Guy right now? You think he's in the running?
I don't know. Do you want to ask me that after you started the show with all the things that...
Well, you were forgiving of that, though.
I just said he's totally awkward in the kitchen. Yes. Kind of like Pascal is with anything you have to do for yourself. However, his smile is very kind. And then I said he's really deep. I mean, because he is really deep. There's a whole lot of guys that can't cook. And especially doing a dish like she was doing. I'm sorry, I don't do lemons, but I don't even have the utensils in my kitchen.
Yes, as Tia said, lemons. They had a cooking date, which, Pascal gets to ride on a private jet to Las Vegas and meet Wayne Newton, and Guy has to cook in Joan's little house that she's living in for the show, so that's kind of... But she said, this is what we would be doing. We wouldn't be flying on private jets every day. So this is how our life would look every day.
She loves to cook.
Yeah. They do start to cook, and as Tia said, he's just not a cook. He's just, I'm not a great cook either. I'd be awkward too, but I think she's like, is there not anybody who's like cool and slick and can do stuff with me? Why is everybody so awkward?
I just put... I knew chalk would be a huge piece of her that would be gone. I hope he returns.
Yeah.
After the date with Jordan. However, Jordan did redeem himself, like, when he was, like, talking deep. And he actually paid attention to her.
Jordan?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I really do like... I think there's something there with him. I don't know if it's with her, but there is something there with him.
With Guy.
Yeah. I mean, with Jordan. But now Guy, he's, like you say...
No, I said Guy.
Oh, I thought you said Jordan. He got deep.
I'm sorry, I meant Guy.
Okay.
I think Guy redeemed himself.
Oh, cool. Okay.
I mean, at the end, because when they were sitting there eating, that's when he got deep.
Right. And he was talking about his 34-year marriage that we know about.
But guess what I thought? I thought he said... I was married 3 or 4 years. And I'm like...
Wow. Commitment.
I wouldn't have told.
Wouldn't even mention that. Let's skip right over that one. Yeah, that's a big difference. She was married for like 32, I think. So they kind of had the same thing. Yeah, I put that he rubbed her back while they were slow dancing. And there was... but I said no chemistry. I don't know why I put that. Obviously, that was my thought. But then he was like, dopamine surge. It made me think, does he describe everything in medical terms? Yeah. Like, I'm starting to feel a rose. Yeah.
Oh, really?
My blood is rushing to places right at the moment. Yeah, I think he's a little bit nerdy. He looks good on paper, doctor. He looks good in a picture, but he doesn't have that personality. Maybe it's not because he's on TV. Who knows? And he's out of his element. Okay. So I thought both those dates were interesting, But I'm not sure. I don't think they were negative, but they didn't really progress for me. I don't know about Joan. But anyway, he gets the rose, of course. Cocktail party. This is for the rest of the guys to try to get their rose. Joan talks about how she really cares about Chalk, but if he doesn't return, she'll always have that, was it Chalk? Was he the one? This could change everything. See, Pascal.
Okay, I've said, isn't very good with the dating or pursuing department.
He pulls back.
Yes.
He doesn't want to be rejected, is my impression. At this point, you've got to be aggressive.
But he said he didn't want to come on too strong, is the way he phrased it.
Right.
Now, it's possible that he does not want to be rejected, so therefore he does withdraw.
Yeah, I kind of respect that in a way, like he's trying to be respectful of her, but in this environment, you just have to say, look, here's how I'm feeling. I want you to know, because you're insecure. She's insecure. She's like, well, if I pick him, does he even like me? Can I even tell? Yeah, and he said, did you miss me? And she said, well, the question is, do you miss me?
Oh.
So I think she's trying to get past that outer shell that he has or whatever. So I felt like his explanation was good, and that was a good conversation, I think.
Mm-hmm. It was.
Jonathan.
I said, you did not just call poop magic. No.
I missed that one.
And I said, do not kiss with your mouth full.
Okay. It was a Cheerios commercial. Like we had an oatmeal commercial last week. And they made him do that. That was just awkward. She's like, I love Cheerios. Did she want cereal in her teeth when she's going to be talking to other guys again?
Okay. They're taking breaks. It's not like this cocktail. She went from one guy to another because she's got to rinse her mouth out because she probably didn't want to eat them. But, I mean, he said, well, after my second cup of coffee, the magic happens. And I'm like,
poop. I thought he meant morning hoo-ha.
No.
Oh, no. Tia.
You really don't pay attention.
I don't drink coffee in the morning.
You write a whole lot, but you don't pay attention.
No, I thought magic happens when he said that. I thought he meant.
No, he said I get my first cup of coffee, then I go and do prayer meditation,
right,
and then I have my second cup of coffee. That's when the magic happens. Then I shower.
I thought he meant I have sex with my girlfriend in the morning.
No, because he said, well, would you come back to bed? And she said, on the weekends.
Yeah, see, that's what I thought he meant. You've got to be in bed with me.
After he showers.
Okay, so magic to him is poop.
And I'm like, I mean, why don't he just say, then I take a dump and...
Wow, I thought it was morning getting it on. Okay.
Unless you think poops is getting it on.
No, I think magic happens is getting it on. Interesting. Yeah. And I felt like she was like, no, I'm not going to compromise for you. And, I'm not going to change my routine. I liked the way she handled that, but I felt like it was a bad conversation.
Yes.
Mark.
He gave her a fire truck. And
that's kind of cute.
Yeah. Okay. You like Mark. I mean, I like Mark, but...
Not for her.
I'm just... I don't know. He could totally surprise me. Win it all.
Yeah. So that didn't really progress. It was cute that he brought her the little fire truck.
Yes, it was.
Charles, our sweet little Charles.
I said, because they kind of went through that real quick, and I said, did he really just show her another picture of his...
He did. He's hot. He is not over his wife yet. He doesn't know what to do.
But this is helping him so much.
I agree. Totally agree. Gary.
Okay, being the sweet little person he is, and they're just dancing because, that's what he does good, is dance and say the sweetest little things ever.
He spreads sunshine wherever he goes.
He is a sunshine spreader.
Sunshine spreader. All right, Keith.
I put the whole beach set up.
Oh, God, I was so embarrassed.
He's not very flowing with conversation. Bless him. He can't get up like I can.
Yeah, I would never want to get on the floor.
Insane.
He was trying to recreate that first impression. Bless his little heart.
I know.
He was sweaty and talking about that he was sweaty.
And can you tell? I mean, can you think about how romantic that is for Joan? I mean, he's sitting there sweating bullets and he can't even form sentences.
Oh.
And then he rolls over and then his bottom is sticking up towards the camera. And I'm thinking, oh my word, that would be me. That would be, help, I'm falling, I can't get up.
Exactly. I know. She said, I mean, she's trying to give him a chance. She said, what? Tell me about your retired day. What would a retirement look like?
I haven't thought about it.
Yeah.
That's what.
And he's like, well, I guess yeah.
Yeah. That's exactly what I would do.
And it's funny because he went to tell the other guys, I just blew that.
Mm-hmm.
I forget how he put it. I sucked wind or something. I can't remember how he put it. And Dan, I just have question marks. I don't remember a Dan encounter.
There wasn't.
Okay. So then, good news, Tia. What happens?
I put chalk is back, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. I swear I did. But then I put, how did he take care of all those funeral arrangements that quick?
It was, I think they said it was like 4 days. I guess the individual date was 1 day. The next
His mom was 91, right?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, so obviously they had probably made some prior arrangements because he said, I knew this was going to happen. It's just when it does, it's like, whew.
Yeah.
Because everybody is like that, even when you're expecting.
Yeah, it's your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
You never get used
to your mom.
Yeah. So, in any case, what would that say to you that he came back so quickly? Would you feel like he's really...
No, I think he really thinks Joan is the one. But then, when she's getting ready to walk in, and I liked how they did that, because then Chalk's just walking, and I'm like, and I was by myself, and I went, yes! And the dogs jumped up, and I said, I'm sorry.
Chalk's back,
but,
dogs.
She lit up like a stinking Christmas tree.
She really did.
And I just thought the conversation was, and again, she's like, I just feel so safe and comfortable with you. Mm-hmm. I mean, safety is one of her big things.
It's not Tia's priority. If you haven't listened to other episodes, she's like, I'm safe, I'm cool. But you're not, Joan doesn't feel that way. You're kind of take charge, independent woman, and I'm not saying Joan.
No, I think she's an independent woman. Yeah. It's just, it's the safe word, I think, is what I'm not
getting overused. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of her, like I said last week, they have to have a story. They have to have a theme, and they repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it. So, Chalk returns. I was wondering if the guys were kind of disappointed to see him come around the corner like...
You know that some of their bellies went, oh, crap.
I stood a chance there.
I'm going to have to have some magic to happen now.
Bring the coffee. Oh, God, I can't believe I misunderstood that magic.
I can't either.
Okay, so it's time for the rose ceremony. And we know that Chalk got the group rose already, so he was good, whether he came back that soon or not. He was good for that whole... He could have stayed way longer, actually, because he had the rose. Jordan got the one-on-one. Guy got the one-on-one. So all Tia's guys are doing great. So there's only 4 roses left to give out. And I'm not sure how many men that left, but it was scary to think about that many are going to go home. So, did you write down who she gave roses to, Tia?
Mm-hmm, I did.
Okay, would you like to announce it?
She gave one to Pascal, Jonathan, Mark, and Keith. Keith, again, was sweating bullets. God love him.
She must still see something there, because she could have kept Gary. I mean, Charles, I understand Charles is,
and we knew Gil was out here anyway.
Yeah, Gil, she really had no contact. And I'm sure the producers are so glad they don't have to edit him out. He's just gone. I agree with her choices, but I don't know. I think I would have kept Dan and let Keith go. Because Keith's still a little too sweaty for me. And Dan, we don't know enough about, but... so that means...
Dan just doesn't... Ugh.
Just not do a few... Like, looks-wise, you're not attracted to him physically, or just overall?
I mean, I just can't see... I don't know. what
I
it is
understand.
about him.
I understand.
It's like, ugh.
There's no chemistry there for you.
No, but I mean, there's no chemistry with Jonathan now either.
Ooh.
I mean, he went.
Wow, Tia.
He took a plunge.
He took a plunge.
I mean, when you think you're into, even Pascal doesn't even act that into himself. He admits, I don't do anything for myself. I have everything hired out. Everything is done for me. But the point of it is, he's very frank, very upfront about it.
Yeah.
But Jonathan tries to play crybaby, and then I need sympathy, and then he goes from that to watch this, and then you're going to go into gold panties, women panties.
Yeah.
He wore women panties.
So is he insecure or is he not insecure?
I think he's totally into himself,
Yeah.
and he thinks he's all that because again, wearing a shirt unbuttoned. I mean, but you know how to dress.
Yeah.
I mean, men know how to dress. And, you know, if you want to undo 2 buttons, great. Don't unbutton to your navel. What's the point in wearing a shirt?
True. Just wear a little vest.
So and that's how quickly judging a book by the cover can fall out.
Yes.
Because
Well,
when you find what's in the book, it's not that pretty anymore.
Yeah. Well, I did question in the very first episode, he looks like that and he's insecure, but then we saw his high school picture and I was like, he was Urkel, so I believe him now. But I don't believe him anymore. So do you think she's keeping around just because the producers think he's a good show, or do you think she's still like, I'm so attracted to him?
Well, I mean, if he'll just keep his mouth closed and... Because he still has dreamy eyes. I mean, he is a beautiful man.
Yes.
He is a very beautiful man.
I agree. If you're just looking on the outside.
That's right. Only on the outside.
Yeah, so I don't know if I said Gary, Gil, Dan, and Charles are leaving. And the guys seem truly sad when these guys leave. They're like, I'm going to miss you,
Well,
man.
I just think that because... I think it was Dan that said, I live by myself. And he said, I was really enjoying this.
Yes.
But I think he was enjoying the camaraderie with the guys, not necessarily with Joan.
Yeah, I agree.
That was pitiful. And by the way, I did go and look at some pictures of Patrick Duffy.
Did you?
Oh, goodness gracious. There is a whole lot of similarity.
Yeah, with the chalk.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. It's just kind of a feel, I found an actor that Keith reminds me of, but I didn't recognize his name, but I'll show you off air. We could just find actors that look like all these people if we want to. Charles, Joan says, you improved my life, Charles. Yeah, that's the horrible part, not giving the rose to these guys, and they walk towards her, and she's got to comfort them, and it would kill me, but... And I believe she meant that. Charles helped her. She helped Charles. And then when Charles is outside, Mark comes out and kind of tackles him. And we're going to miss you guys. And I have heard Charles on interviews say he's keeping in touch with these guys. And he feels more confident and happy. And there's even rumors he might be the Bachelor next year. I would participate. Okay. I mean, sweet as he can be. All right. This was a life-changing episode for us as far as how we feel about these guys.
I wouldn't go that far. It didn't change my life at all.
At this point, I feel like if she doesn't pick Chalk, what the heck? You know, now maybe we'll find out Chalk has a whole other family somewhere before it show's over.
He's a serial rapist, probably.
Oh, no! Allegedly. Oh, Lord.
No, he's not.
No,
I mean, I hope there's nothing ugly that comes back on any more of these guys. Or they did not do their research well. Yeah. One or the other.
This is the second time they haven't done their research. Okay, so we hope you guys are enjoying this. It's only going to get better. And this is why we come back and watch it. Because it's just always some of these twists and turns and personal issues that pop up. It's just crazy. I mean, tonight is episode 5, week 5, and we will have our recap next Wednesday for that, so you can pregame for
episode, not season.
Yes, episode. Thank you. Episode. They call them weeks. Week 5. But we're used to saying episode. But in any case, we hope you guys are enjoying it. Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, but my YouTube says episode.
Does it say episode?
That's weird.
Yeah. And each episode has a name, too. I forgot what the name of this one was. Or maybe this was called The Men Barrel. Yeah, it would be. All right, guys. We hope you're having fun. We'd love to hear from you. We had a great phone call last week. We really enjoyed
Debbie.
Commenting on it. It was great. So we'd love some more of that. And we hope you will join us for Giggles and Gratitude.
We're not going to do a count of how many you've got and how many I have.
Oh, I guess we
Because you certainly did that last year.
Well,
because I was a Teresa.
I was trying to just skip over.
Yeah, of course you were.
All right. What are our scores now?
Okay, let's see. Dena, you still have Mark, Jordan, Keith, and Jonathan. 4. Tia has Jonathan, Guy, Chalk, Jordan, Keith, and Pascal. I've got 6.
What? You have all your guys?
Thank you very much.
Tia.
See, that's why you didn't want to bring it up. Bam.
Just slipped my mind.
But we still have 3 a lock.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, Jonathan,
I mean,
Mark,
if you lose 3, I'm going to lose 3.
That's true. That's true. I still have a chance.
Yes, you
Except
do.
I want Chalk to win. He's not on my list, so. I will sacrifice and be a loser for Joan to win at love. I'm willing to do that.
Okay. Oh, boy. Yay!
That's my sacrifice. All right. We love you guys. I love you, Tia.
Love you.
All right. We hope you'll join us Sunday for Giggles and Gratitude. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.